everyone! Today I'm making Shubble from Empire Season 2. This wasn't what I had planned, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm gonna use this Dracula doll and start the prepping process by first cutting off her hair. Once it's as short as I can get it, I take off her head, then go in with a pair of needle nose pliers and get the rest of the plugs out. I scrape around the top of her head to get out chains of plugs at a time, then pull them all out. I saw this tip on Delightful's channel, it's very helpful. And funny story, this was not the video I had planned. The dolls I ordered were taking a while to arrive, and I was getting bored, so I just started on this project and wouldn't stop. After I got all the plugs out, I just paint over her facial features white, since I'll be painting over her skin anyway, since Shubble does not have pink skin. I am painting her with a pretty pale skin color, but I have evidence as to why I'm doing this actually. Evidence 1, it's in the skin already, and evidence 2, you cannot tell me that someone who lives in a dense forest like this would have a tan. But anyway, I paint over her whole body with the color and then seal it all in. Then I go over her scalp with brown paint. This will make the hair look fuller, as I explained last time, but in case you didn't see it, I'm repeating it again. I make sure to seal that in as well, and then pop her head back on. I'm doing this before I do the face up, so I don't have to worry about messing it up. After I get her head back on, I start blushing her body. I'm blushing her knees this time, as well as her face, because you're actually going to be seeing her knees, since the overall she wears stop at her knees. Now onto the head, I make sure to blush the cheeks, forehead, and ears. Actually, one of the reasons I chose this doll was for the pointy ears, but you don't see them under her hair. I wipe down my table in case anything got on and start staining the doll. Then I go in and paint her eyes. I go in with a light yellow color, then I mix some orange into that color off screen and use it to shade the rest of her eyes. I do a black outline and paint in her lips off screen. Then I draw out her eyebrows and paint them in. I usually don't show this process, but I use some glossy varnish on her pupils and her lips. After it's dry, and I wait quite a while for it to dry, I start putting her hair on. I'm using a dark brown yarn along with a couple streaks of black. I'm hoping it will make it look darker. I don't know if it does in the end, but I do like how it looks. I always do the face up before I put on the hair, so I don't have to pin the hair out of the way because it'll get in the way anyway, I just know it. Also, my content won't be strictly Empire's SMP stuff from now on. This just happened to be right after the last one, because I got impatient waiting for some dolls. To make the part, I glue some wefts on facing each other, and then wait overnight for it to dry so I can lay them down again. Then I cut her hair. To make her purple t-shirt, I'm going to use this tunic pattern along with this old t-shirt. I like using old clothes to make my doll clothes because usually they have some stretch to them which makes them a lot easier to work with. Like this t-shirt here. I haven't worn it since like middle school, so it's perfect. A big reason why I like this tunic pattern is that the sleeves and the back are already attached, so you really just have to either hem or fray check everything, which is what I do with the sleeves, then sew up the sides, add some snaps, and it's done. After a while, I finally worked out a good pattern for her overalls, and made a successful mock-up, so now I can start making it out of the actual fabric. I'm going to be using this green felt. It looks like moss, so I figured it's perfect. It also feels like I was sewing with moss, with the amount of times I had to sew up holes in it. I trace up the pattern pieces, cut them out. I don't think you need to see this process over and over, so I'll just show it for this one pant leg. After I got all the pieces I need to cut out, I hem up the pants, back, and front pieces. Then sew the legs up together and put them together. This is where I had to sew up the most amount of holes. After patching all the holes, I take the front and back pieces, sew them right sides together, and then add the straps and the pockets. Her hat's going to be made out of the same fabric. I use the inner part of this ring because it's the circumference of her head, then trace it out and add a bunch of extra room onto the rim. I don't add any other structuring aside from just the felt to the brim because it's supposed to be a big floppy hat. For the actual cone of it, I cut out this shape, then put it together and sew it up using a backstitch. To attach the two pieces, I stick the cone up through the brim, then sew it all together and hot glue on a ribbon around it to hide the edge and stitches. I'm gonna set that aside for now and work on her shoes. I take this pair of what I assume is Frankie Stein's shoes because of the lightning bolt on the side, and then I paint them brown and then paint in the details black. Those are done now, so I'm gonna make her wand. I use the pointy end of the skewer stick and then some wire to make a handle so that the doll can actually hold on to it. Once the glue on that has dried, I paint it all blue and then add a darker gradient on the bottom. Since I made wings last time, I definitely have to make her broom. I use these sticks, and specifically this stick, to make the whole base of it. I cut it to size, then start painting it blue, same as I did for the wand. Then I just paint on some darker spots onto the knots of the stick in order to give it some shading. I paint both ends brown, and with the rest of the sticks I cut them up into tiny little pieces and glue them onto the end. I know I use Elmer's glue here, but I actually end up using hot glue because it was too frustrating. I also hot glue on a ribbon to go around all the sticks. The final accessory is going to be this cauldron. I got it from one of those mini Hatchimals, so I figure it's perfect since it's so small. I paint it with a metallic black first, then paint the smoke around it green to mimic the giant cauldron she made. After a couple coats of the base color, I go in with a lighter green on top of all the swirls to highlight it. I also paint all the sparkles around the cauldron with the light green, and for the bottoms of all the swirls I go in with a dark green for the shadows. I clean it all up with the black paint and then do the same for the lid. For the big gem on the front, I paint it purple and shade it all to look like a big amethyst. It's the final detail now. The flowers all over her outfit. I make them out of felt. I make them all out of felt. These are the three things I'm going to be hot gluing all the flowers onto. As you can see, I made quite a bit for them, although this still ends up not being enough. I make more flowers for the hat, and she's done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wish I could get some pictures outside, but it's currently fall and everything's turning yellow. And I really wanted her to have a green background. See ya!